Okay, so this is really cool. So in Ross here, currently I have a setup where there's a webcam on my table. And there's a box over there. That's about I don't know, 7 foot distance. Here's a bird's eye view looking downwards. And currently it's detecting these two April tags. If I move to the side, which would basically simulate a view kind of like from this angle, you notice that it sees the two April tags. It sees them as slightly to the side. What's interesting is that I've also done the frames. So right now it's just a map frame enabled. So positive X is in this direction, Y is in that direction. Right hand rule looks something like that, which makes sense because these should be pointing upwards in the world, which it is. And if I turn off the map frame and turn on the camera frame, camera by default has Z going forward, X to the right, and Y down. So it took some tweaking here. I just spent some time playing around with a static transform between the camera and map frames. Currently, Arvis is showing in the map frame. But essentially, that's what it sees, and it seems to be doing a pretty good job. So let's continue observing this while I move the box around. So let's see how I could do this. Also, notice here that it looks like it's not perfectly parallel. I wonder if that's the case or not. It's really hard to tell. But if you look at this camera, if I put the camera perpendicular, notice it's slightly not straight, not perpendicular to this table. So if it's not perpendicular to this table, then if I follow the trace of this camera, it goes somewhat like this. By the time it gets here, it is true that one looks smaller than the other. And that's because the box needs to be more like this in order to be perceived as perpendicular. So now that I've changed it to be perpendicular, let's see if that actually changes anything. And once I move out of the way, notice it's a super slow refresh rate, but now it is definitely a lot more accurate here. Notice how it looks a lot flatter. The distance says each square box is a meter, so that's 1, 2, 2.6, 2.7, maybe 2.8 meters or so, which I'm sure is accurate because I've measured it before. But now in this case, let me move this to the side view. It's currently above. So let's say I take this box and just plop it below. So I'll take this box here, and I'll move it down here. We should see it move underneath, which does happen. So here we do have the box underneath the world, which is pretty sweet. Now let's see what are some of the limits here. Again, remember, I haven't mentioned this yet, but these video frames are all at 640 by 480, or photo frames extracted from a video. It's so slow, probably like not even 1 frame a second, but it's fine because the dump truck will probably be pretty stationary. Here, I'm going to turn this slightly to the side. About, 30 degrees. It still recognizes it from the top down. Notice it sees that the box is turned. So here we would see the outline of a box somewhat going something like that. Outline of a box. Let's continue turning it until we can't see it anymore. So we turn it more. It's still detecting both tags. They do look somewhat parallel, which is nice. The red lines do go in a straight line. Let's say it turns some more. It still sees that magically, which is pretty amazing considering it's not very high resolution here. I do notice one is actually fading out. Notice this one has faded out now. So it's gone. Let me turn it back a bit. When I turn it back, I would expect it should come back. We'll see if it does or not. Interesting. Okay, it's not back. Turn it more. Okay, there it is. It's back again. Okay, so now let's suppose I were to put it face up. So now it's like that instead. And when it detects it, let's see what it says. So we should no longer, I think we should see a green line now. If it detects it. It actually doesn't detect it for some reason, which is actually a bit surprising to me. Let me move this a bit closer. So let's say we put it like that. There it is. So the green lines show up. It's basically rotated 90 degrees now. So for the most part, this is working pretty damn well. And the next test is going to be to take the big QR code outdoors, or even just take this outdoors as well, and just see how well this can detect the box.